with Happy New Year just a few hours away. We welcome you to Orlando, Florida. CFE Arena, home of the Central Florida Knights. An historic first for them as they host number 14 Louisville, the first ever American Athletic Conference game. And the one-on-one tonight features the strengths of these two schools.
Absolutely, strength on strength. When you look at Louisville, they take the ball away and they don't give it back, creating extra opportunities and demoralizing teams. And for UCF, outstanding from beyond the three-point line, 40% on the season. They're third in the American behind UConn and SMU.
That was the voice of Len Elmore. I'm Mike Crispino. Welcome aboard. The first of three straight AAC games coming to you on ESPN2. And the starting lineups here tonight, including Russ Smith, very familiar, part of that national championship team. But keep an eye on Chris Jones, a junior from Memphis. He's averaging 14 points a game. Wayne Blackshear, Montrezl Harrell, and Mango Mathian. Now for UCF, Isaiah Sykes, Tristan Spurlock is another senior. They got three seniors in their starting lineup. Spurlock shooting 49%, over 42% from three-point range. Dylan Carroll and Casey Wilson round out the starting lineup for Donnie Jones. He spent 9 years at Florida as an assistant to Billy Donovan, and then, of course, at Marshall before coming here to Central Florida. He's in his fourth season. Rick Pitino, 29 years on the sidelines. The defending national champion Louisville Cardinals are playing tonight, Len, without Shane Bohannon, their star from the Final Four last year. Has been dismissed from the team for a violation of school policies.
Well, that's his second suspension, actually second violation, 26-day suspension earlier. And he is a young man who is terrific on the boards for them, big in the middle. Rick Pitino said that sets their team back immensely. But it's a new season right now as they're playing their first conference game of the year.
That's the first time these two schools have met since 1999. Here's Rick Pitino. He has two NCAA titles, one at Kentucky in '96 and, of course, last year in 2013 with Louisville, a member of the Hall of Fame as of April this past year. So Louisville in their black trimmed in red. Moving left to right. This is Chris Jones.
UCF keeping Jones in front of him, not allowing him to turn the corner, even with the high screens.
Smith feeds Jones in the corner for the jumper, and he knocks down a triple for the first bucket of the ballgame.
Penetration skills of both Russ Smith and Chris Jones outstanding. Create opportunities for each other as well as their big.
Spurlock for three. That's off the side rim, tipped in the hands of Sykes. Ball stripped out of his hands, and it'll be Louisville ball. Donnie Jones, we mentioned, 4 years here, 74 and 48, almost 61% winning percentage, 320 win seasons. Louisville comes in 11 and 2. UCF at 8 and 3. A little floater was rimmed in and out, knocked out of bounds by Louisville. That was Wayne Blackshear, the junior from Chicago, will be a big part of Louisville's efforts tonight on the missed shot.
Louisville again persisting in the full court pressure. They want this to be an up-tempo game, end line to end line. They want to see if UCF can handle the pressure. If they want to attack, can they handle the ball?
That's the second turnover early by the Knights.
You know, we've got two of the top three scoring teams in the American, and you would expect that this is going to be an up and down game, but I think the up and down element is going to be transition, particularly with Louisville creating turnovers, trying to get up the floor.
Both teams average over 83 points as Smith misses. On the glass, a couple of tips, and the rebound taken down by Casey Wilson.
Now that's the strength of Louisville's right there, offensive glass. When Bohannon was here, they had 4 of the top 10 offensive rebounders in the conference. At least they have 3 right now with Van Treese on the bench.
Louisville with a steal, and on the break, Blackshear is able to lay it in on a nice feed from Russ Smith.
And that's what I'm talking about in transition, whether off the steal or off the rebound. Louisville wants to get out and go.
It's the first time Central Florida has played on their home court on ESPN or ESPN2, so big night for them. They finally get their first bucket.
That was a nice move by Sykes right there. You know, I asked Donnie Jones Did you see the offensive tip-in by Mathiang? I asked Donnie Jones before their practice today whether or not he had guys who could break you down off the dribble, because the way Louisville plays, it's hard to get assists off of buckets because of their team defense. And he said he hopes his guys can penetrate but make the extra pass. That time Sykes did what he needed to off the dribble.
And there's the block shot, the rejection by Mango Mathiang. Smith trying to run the break with the ball deflected out of bounds. 7-2 early in the opening 3 minutes. And the first substitution of the night coming. Stephen Blair will come in for Central Florida, sophomore from Fort Lauderdale.
When you ask Rick Pitino who fills the void left by Bohannon, one, he thinks Harold, I should say, has to be able to step up, do more offensively as well as off the glass. And second, Mathiang is getting much better as a player right now. The freshman's starting to really adjust, starting to understand exactly what he needs to do in the paint.
Officials tonight, Joe DeRosa, the former NBA official. That's Lee Cassell and Brent Hampton. He just inbounded the ball. Nice feed down low. Montrezl Harrell, and the Knights got caught off guard. A 9-2 Louisville lead.
Remember, we were watching them in their shoot-around today go through the inbounds plays, and everybody stayed with everybody. Everything worked so well. And here, it doesn't work at all. As you take a look, Wilson just gets back screen. Nobody communicates. They communicated well in practice. But we get a game situation, you got to do the same thing.
One thing Donnie Jones talked about in practice is his team has to have short memories. You make a bad play, you turn it over. You got to put that behind you and make the next play, because against Louisville, they love to go on runs.
Yeah, it's like the snowball rolling down the side of a hill. You continue to let that snowball go, you got an avalanche on your hands.
So good start by Louisville. Just 3 minutes and 6 seconds in, they lead by 7. And again, they apply the full court pressure. Isaiah Sykes, second team all-conference last year, handles the ball.
Sykes is a pretty good ball handler for a guy playing a 3 who essentially is called upon to score. We were told by a coaching staff he's got point guard ball handling skills, doesn't necessarily need to right now with Newell.
Spurlock off an air ball and a great feed. The alley-oop to Montrezl Harrell. And Louisville at the top of their game, leading 11-2. A foul called underneath. Mathiang was pushing Blair.
Going to take a look right here. Pushing the ball, obviously, Harrell gets behind everybody. No one accounts for him. And he just busted out there because he started out on the wing. He beat a lot of guys down the floor. Good effort, good hustle.
Harrell's a sophomore from Tarboro, North Carolina, averages 12 points and 8 rebounds. So UCF off to a slow start here. Just underway. UCF is 1 of 5. They've turned it over 3 times. Wilson attacks inside, and the ball is knocked out of bounds off the Cardinals. And we'll have our first timeout of the night. Louisville, 14th in the country, playing that way early. Louisville Cardinals 11-2 lead early in Orlando. Mike Crispino along with Len Elmore. What are they talking about inside that huddle to regroup right now?
Well, I'm pretty sure they're talking about turnovers. 3 turnovers have led to 5 points off of those turnovers and second chance opportunities. Louisville with 3 offensive rebounds so far with 4 second chance opportunities. You limit those and, you know, you've got yourself a chance as far as being competitive. And also from a shooting standpoint, he's got to calm them down. I think these guys are too revved up right now. You know, they want to be able to make the extra pass. They want to execute. That means patience.
You're a guy who can appreciate points in the paint. Louisville's 8 of 11 points have come from the paint.
Yeah, I mean, but that's transition points too, and offensive rebounds and putbacks. You know, they really don't have anybody with a post-up opportunity.
This is Brandon Goodwin, just a freshman from Norcross, Georgia. He wears number 22, and a foul on the outside called. Something we're seeing a little more of, the emphasis on the hand check.
And really, again, UCF taking their time, getting everybody in position. And see right here, you got a chance. Triple threat. Blackshear can't handle. And Sykes takes him to the basket. And that's what happens. You take your time.
First on Blackshear. We'll go to the bench. And Luke Hancock will come in the ball game. He wears number 11 for Louisville. He's a senior from Roanoke.
And he's all cleaned up, too. The beard's gone, hair's cut. Maybe he thinks that'll change his luck as he's an outstanding shooter, but slumping this season so far.
Well, what a feed that time from Hancock, and the reverse by Russ Smith. 13-2 Louisville.
And that's one thing he does so well. Rick Pitino made a point of mentioning how great a passer Hancock is.
Van Treese erases the shot by Blair, and Louisville comes up with it. Here comes Hancock. It's 3-on-1 if they hurry. Russ Smith deals it down low, and they don't get a shot off. Hancock, though, dives in, and he puts it in. 15-2, and Donnie Jones got to call another timeout. So Luke Hancock off the bench with a couple of nice assists.
Yeah, with the clean-cut look, hoping maybe that'll change his luck. As I mentioned, terrific pass. Draws defenders in the paint, only for the cutter. And here, once again, off the drive, the little runner. And shots like that help you think about yourself in a more positive way when you're shooting the ball. Hancock needs all of that because, you know, right now he's shooting 25% from beyond the arc, 32% overall. He's a much better shooter than that.
Well, he's helped with the offense right away. 5 assists and the 7 baskets. And the Cardinals couldn't hope for a better start. If you're the Knights, you're saying to yourself, we've got to get back in this thing. 5 minutes gone by, and they trail by 13.
And you see Louisville's amping up the pressure. You know, it's almost like you get an opponent in boxing, you get him wobbly, you want to go for the knockout. It seems strange as early as it is, but Louisville's kind of in that position. They can go on a long run. And
Spurlock off balance off the front rim, chases it down.
That's got to be a foul.
Oh, they call a jump.
Wow. It's hard to reach over a guy with the contact and timeout without it necessarily being a foul. But, you know, the things just aren't going UCF's way. That right there, contact should have been one. And then the reach over should have been one as well.
And the Knights fans are seeing that replay on the big scoreboard. Agree with you, Len Elmore. That wasn't the call, though. Okoye Ugao is coming to the ball game. He's just a freshman from Omaha for Louisville. Where's number 22?
He's going to get considerably more time again with Bohannon's dismissal. Everybody has to move up on the food chain, so to speak.
A foul on Spurlock. That's his first. So Mathiang will come out. Rick Pitino goes to his bench. Tim Henderson, the senior from Louisville. Rick had high praise for him. Here's Hancock. That's off the side of the rim. Fight for the rebound, and it'll be UCF ball. Central Florida's won 5 in a row coming into this. Sykes with a nice feed to Blair, and Blair hammers it down. And the Knights have their second bucket of the night.
An uplifting move and play for UCF. Let's see if they can feed on that.
And Hancock's quick three is off the mark. Long three off the side of the rim. That one from Matt Williams.
That would have brought the home folks out of their seats and given UCF even more of an opportunity to cheer themselves. But Hancock kills the momentum right there with the three from the top of the key.
Now Hancock nearly stripped the ball. Now you just quoted those stats from Hancock. When you're shooting 25% or in the 30s from the field, you got to have a lot of guts to keep on shooting it.
You got to have a lot of support too. Remember, we talked to Rick Pitino and he said, he'll just keep shooting. We know he'll come out of it. So when you have that kind of support, that means the green light is on. You take advantage.
And no player doesn't like the green light. Well, Hancock's jersey got completely ripped.
It's part of the new style. He cut his hair, he shaved.
Now, what do they do next? Do they take 2 on the road with them? That's the question. That's going to be a tough fix.
Well, it's either 2 or bring a seamstress.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Rick hasn't either. Rick Pitino just can't contain himself. He's just laughing.
Now what do I do? Now, does he change his number? I don't think they have an extra jersey. Let's see. All right, so it's a quick change, and out of the phone booth will come Luke Hancock. He is, let's see, he's going to reveal his number in a moment here. He's number 32, so change that in your scorebook. That got ripped when he went out of bounds on that hustle play. Calvin Neal's in the ball game as they work the perimeter. Trying to get Sykes on tracked. Wilson and an offensive foul. So UCF trying to force the issue a little bit.
And that's what I was talking about in the last time out. I'm sure Donnie Jones is trying to get his guys calm down. Try not to do more than you're capable of doing. The defense, if it's solid, will help us get back into the ball game offensively. You relax and do what you do best. And Wilson, more catch and shoot, an outstanding three-point shooter, continues to try to bull his way to the basket, and that's not him.
Terry Rozier now has the ball. He's number 0, freshman from Youngstown, Ohio, for Louisville.
Good pass.
Anderson, great feed, and the layup good by Van Trace, the senior from Indianapolis. 20-4 Louisville.
I mean, UCF is playing the zone, but they can't allow that kind of penetration in the zone. Once you get past that front line and you allow that penetration, you're going to be overmatched.
UCF, a 40% three-point shooting team, have not been able to connect. Louisville dominating the boards right now. And Rozier on the run. Gives to Blackshear, and he's got it. 23-3, another triple by Louisville. Under 12 minutes to go. 23-4, Louisville shooting exceptionally well. They're 10 of 17 on the night. Sykes now attacks, hangs in the air, that's short. And Louisville comes up with it. The shot rejected by Stephen Blair. A foul on Louisville on the drive inside. That'll bring us to a timeout. 11:15 to go here in the first. Cardinals have gotten off to a great start, 3 of 5 from three-point range, and they've held UCF to 4 points in the opening 8+ minutes.
Well, I think the biggest reason for UCF having that difficulty is what Rick Pitino told us before the game, that they're going to go right at them to see if they can handle the ball, if they can handle the pressure. And apparently they've had a lot of trouble.
Well, UCF shoots 40% from three-point range. They're 0 for 4 to start. How much of their momentum comes from those three-point field goals when they make them?
Well, I mean, look, if you're making three-point field goals consecutively, you feel good about yourself. I thought that the play a couple of possessions ago where it culminated into a dunk for UCF would have given them, you know, a lift a little bit, but right down on the other end, Luke Hancock comes and kind of silences them and kills the momentum. They've got to find a way to stop Louisville, maybe in consecutive possessions, come down and score to feel a lot better about themselves and feel more inclined to play their game instead of trying to do more than they're capable of.
You debut in the American Athletic Conference, you want it to be great. You're at home. You're off to a bad start. What's Donnie Jones doing to regroup these guys? We talked about it already once, but that first time out didn't provide any positive results. He's got to find some way here.
Yeah, as we said, you know, visibility is the foundation of solid programs. You know, you can take a look now. UCF is on the map in the American. They're on national TV, but that's the good news. The not so good news is they're playing the defending national champs, who obviously are outstanding at taking the ball away from you, outstanding in transition. And that's what's hurting UCF right now.
Yeah, one number that was amazing in looking at Louisville, second in the country in this, they turn you over 27% of your possessions. I mean, that's 1 out of every 4 they're taking it away from you.
And they're not giving it back because that turnover margin of plus 8.5, you know, that's minimally 8 more possessions than your opponent. And then obviously you look at their rebounding capability of almost a plus 7. You know, they create a lot of possessions for themselves, and that's why, again, they're averaging 85 points a game.
Rick Pitino in his 13th year at Louisville, 321 victories. And the crowning achievement last spring in the national championship. And it starts all over again. Here's Newell ducking inside, banks it in, and he's fouled.
It's not as though UCF doesn't have players. I mean, this score is not indicative of the talent on the floor. It's just that, again, you got a hot Louisville team. You had somewhat of a skittish start by UCF. You know, they've kind of dug a hole for themselves, and they've got to be able to utilize toughness, maturity, and poise to get back into the ballgame.
Yeah, you know, Louisville started the game 8 assists, no turnovers. Meanwhile, 5 turnovers for UCF and just 1 assist. So the three-point play by Newell cuts the lead to 23-7. Russ Smith launches a 3 off the back rim.
Look at that rebounding.
A thing, what a move by Harrell.
And that's what Rick Pitino's talking about. In the Kentucky game, Harrell was relatively invisible, didn't get the job done. And here, you know, among 4 golden shirts, Harrell goes up, takes the ball away from all of them, and then has a presence of mind and the skill to finish strong and draw the foul.
Well, he averages 8 rebounds a ball game, Len. And without Shane Bohannon available anymore, they're really going to lean on him on the boards.
Yeah, just 6 points and 4 rebounds versus Kentucky, prompting Rick Pitino to say afterwards, you know, kind of comparing him to Christine Aguilera going out and dancing instead of using her voice. And that's essentially what he wants Harrell to do. Utilize his strengths, play to his strengths, and stop trying to be something you're not.
So Louisville gets the 3-point play and a 26-7 advantage. Last year, the Cardinals 35 wins, only 5 losses. We're in the Big East at a 14-4 mark. Now they play their one and only year in the American Athletic Conference before moving to the ACC. Line drive 3 is good. That's from Matt Williams. He shoots it over 42% out there. Averages 6.5 points a game.
And this is what I'm talking about. Toughness, which means defensively you got to dig in, make some consecutive stops. Poise, and that allows them to execute. And they'll maybe get back into this ball game, but not like that, leaving Russ Smith alone in the short corner.
A couple seconds left in the Indiana-Illinois game. Indiana leading at Illinois. Russ Smith, now how's that little guy get loose on a baseline like that for that kind of a shot?
And he does a terrific job of moving without it, particularly against the zone. And his teammates are more than willing to find him.
Smith needs 45 points as the day began to get to 1,500. Louisville with a great tradition of scores. Darrell Griffith, people like that have been lighting it up in Louisville for a long time. 18-point lead.
Extra pass.
Get the man open and a missed, tipped, loose, second effort, foul. So UCF attacking the glass, and they'll get Eugene McCrory to the line.
They're getting the toughness part down. You know, on the offensive glass. It's on the defensive end where they've got to be able to dig in.
Well, you got to start somewhere. So they bang it around. They get an extra shot. Now they get 2 free throws. And McCrory off the front rim, no good. Welcome to CFE Arena in Orlando, Florida. Central Florida hosting Louisville, 14th ranked in the country. The Cardinals off to a great start in this one. Mike Crispino along with Len Elmore. Here's Hancock. Off the back rim, no good.
Well, this has been a game where Louisville, right from the jump, has come out and played their game, applying pressure, forcing turnovers, getting out in transition, hitting the offensive glass. They've done just about everything that has made them. They made them national champs last year and made them a formidable team this year to jump out to this 17-point lead. And it could have been worse, except right now UCF developing a little bit of toughness, kind of calming down a little bit and executing, and they've gotten this lead cut down a little bit. But nevertheless, right now it's a dominating performance by Louisville.
And the paint. Now they turn it over. 3-on-2 if they hurry. Sykes all the way to the basket. Gets it to go. Scooped it home. 28-13. 4 points for Sykes. Isaiah Sykes, a senior from Detroit, their leading scorer.
And again, if you can imagine, this could be worse. It was. 23-4 is how this game started out with 11-15 remaining. And obviously UCF has done a better job of closing the gap.
And Blair running the floor well. He'll get 2 free throws. That's been a 9-5 run for UCF to get them back within 15, and now they get 2 free throws.
And maybe that's not what they want. This team does not shoot the ball well from the free throw line.
No, they're in the 50s, as a matter of fact, 57.5%. They get the first. Good. But we watched them shoot free throws, shoot around, and yesterday at practice, they made a lot of free throws.
Yeah, and the form was good for the most part. Yeah, but, you know, the way they shoot now, this is mental. And one of their best players and is only shooting 42%, 41%, Isaiah Sykes. You know that's a mental situation. But right now, they're starting to feel good about themselves. They've cut into this lead. Now it's only down 13. They're hitting the glass. They're doing all the things that you would expect from a team like UCF at home.
And Sykes takes it down the throat of the defense and lays it in. So the Knights now coming to life, and they're within 11.
And as I told you, Mike, all it took was toughness, which now they're starting to display on the defensive end. Poise, where they can sit back, relax, and execute their stuff. And, you know, the maturity, understand what are good shots and what aren't. And in doing so, they've been able to cut this lead down to 11. Whereas before, at the beginning of the game, man, they were down 21 points.
And they turned it over a lot early, and that's what got Louisville off and running.
Yeah, turning it over, extra possessions for Louisville. And, you know, as I said, even when Louisville doesn't take it away from you, when you turn it over unforced, it's demoralizing. And for a while, UCF just stood there looking at themselves. But they've come back strong. And this is what makes Louisville so tough right here. You know, their turnover margin, those extra possession, the fact that they don't give it back to you with the fewest turnovers. And they move the ball so well, assist on so many field goals.
Louisville's won one of their last 6 after their hot start. And let's see, a sideline violation. How often do we see that? The shooter was standing on the sideline.
Far too often. Tim Henderson knows better than that.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Gildan. It's about time you had a new favorite t-shirt.
A few hours away from 2014, and we're here in Orlando, Florida, where Central Florida trails Louisville 28-17, the first of 3 American Athletic Conference games, the first 3 in the history of the conference. Memphis at South Florida. UConn goes to Texas to take on Houston.
Well, I'll tell you, this is going to be interesting. This conference, the American, is a lot stronger than people would think. And there are teams that a lot of people don't know a lot about, but they'll be showcased, you know, in our effort to cover the American and the teams in there. We're talking about SMU. We're talking about Houston, teams of that nature. In this game right here, Louisville started out like a house of fire. 10 of 18 from the field. That's 56%. But they're one of their last 6. Flip side, UCF began 2 of 13. Now they're 5 of their last 7. Hence, they've been able to cut into this lead tremendously.
And Isaiah Sykes, whoa. It'll be the Knights' ball. Isaiah Sykes with a nice putback a moment ago. So they're attacking the glass now. Central Florida and scoring inside.
Well, playing with confidence. Early, as we said, when you're down 23-4, you're shell-shocked. But the maturity and the poise has come back along with the toughness, as I mentioned. And now we see the real UCF.
Sykes again, and Sykes has 10. As he's just gone right down the throat of the Louisville defense. He scored 8 of their last 10 points.
Wow, this is just tremendous. Utilizing his left hand, Isaiah Sykes, 14 points a game, 8 double-figure games. You know, he's been their best player this year. He's got 2 triple-doubles last year, so you know what he's capable of doing.
Well, Thursday, get ready for 2 big-time conference rivalry games. First at 7, Big Ten. And undefeated Wisconsin battles Northwestern. Then at 9, St. Mary's takes on Gonzaga. Thursday, 7 and 9 on ESPN2. Both games live on Watch ESPN. Well, the Big Ten had the stage earlier with Purdue. And they lost at home. Then Indiana winning a loss to Illinois on the road, rather. It's tough. It's tough in the Big Ten, tough in any of these conferences when you go on the road.
And right now, Louisville understands that. They may have relaxed a little bit. You go out to a big lead like they did, beginning 23-4, there is a tendency to relax, and I think Rick Pitino has had some of his guys like Russ Smith and Chris Jones on the bench long enough for them to realize you can't relax any longer. It's time to turn it up again.
Smith for three, that's no good. So they've missed 6 in a row from outside the arc. Earlier, Ohio State stayed undefeated. Nice feed, and Blair and Sykes combine, and it's a 3-point game.
Well, Sykes looked like he might have come down on somebody's ankle as he's hobbling right now. Boy, UCF, just when they start getting it all together, led by that young man, number 3. You know, they now have a problem with him getting hurt. Right there, he comes down on Harrell's ankle, and you can see him hobble. Went back to the locker room. Maybe they'll try to retape it. At least they're going to examine it.
5-point game. Louisville led big at one point, and Smith hits a 3. After 6 straight misses, the Cardinals are up by 8.
Well, the All-American taking advantage maybe of a little bit of a concern by UCF over their best player, Isaiah Sykes, getting hurt. Knocks that 3 down. Let's see how UCF's psyche.
And a foul on Russ Smith. He's got 7 points, and now we're 1-1 with 5:42 to go in the first half.
Let's see how their psyche turns out again with Sykes going off, recognizing they've got to do it without him.
You know, nationally, there's been a lot of talk about that emphasis on hand checking. You saw that with Russ Smith a moment ago. Free throw attempts are up 17% here in the first 2 months of the college season.
But interestingly
enough, good one makes the first.
Interestingly enough, even though it's up, it's been declining week after week to the point where, you know, scoring is only up 7%, and, you know, from a free throw standpoint, points from free throws are only up 5%. That number was a lot bigger earlier in the season. And you know what that tells me? That the players are adjusting, as are the officials.
2 free throws, and it is a 6-point game. 5.5 left here in the first. Mike Crispino along with Len Elmore. CFE Arena in Orlando on the campus of Central Florida. Off-balance baseline jumper. That time by Chris Jones. And he's got 5.
They got 2 guards with common names, Smith and Jones, and uncommon talent. And both of those guys are starting to widen this lead again as leaders for this Louisville team.
And the freshman for Donnie Jones has the ball in his hands, Brandon Goodwin. Being hounded by Jones. Shot clock now at 8. A shot blocked by the Cardinals, and they come up with it. Smith on the run. Deals back to Jones.
You notice UCF's offense really sputtering without Sykes in the ball game.
Oh, Smith hit another back-to-back threes. That was long range.
And as I said, Russ Smith, understanding this game, and particularly the psychology of this game, all of a sudden he turns it on at a time when UCF's offense is sputtering, at a time when they're worried about their main guy, Isaiah Sykes. And you give a lot of credit to the All-American.
Yeah, Russ Smith now has 10 to lead the way for Louisville. Those last 2 threes were confident. You could just tell the stroke.
Yeah, well, he wants the ball, man. And, you know, it's one of those things that have that supreme confidence.
Terry Rozier will come in. We're still in the 1-1 bonus.
We talked about the green light earlier and how every shooter wants it. Doesn't matter with us.
Russ Smith, who has got to be one of Rick Pitino's favorite players all time, because he came in, if you look at him, when we stood next to him prior to the game, he's not a big man. He doesn't have tremendous athletic look to him, but what a basketball player Russ Smith is.
You can remember that dunk against Kentucky straight down the lane. Even Rick mentioned it in our discussion with him. How about that dunk? And I was looking at him when he was speaking with us, and you're right. And he doesn't seem that explosive, but what an athlete.
Here's Smith again. They close him out, but he fires a floater. It's off the mark, and Blair saves it for the rebound. Under 4 minutes to go. UCF has gone 8 of 9 from the line here tonight, way above their season average. That's helped them get back within 9.
Oh, there's no question about it. Had they shot their normal percentage, it would have been just a lot of wasted effort here and them trying to come back.
Sykes back in the ball game, so that ankle not bothering him apparently. This Goodwin spins in traffic, lays it up. No. Sykes got the rebound. He backed it in. He's everywhere. Isaiah Sykes.
And once again, confidence is buoyed. Sykes back on the floor immediately. The impact is felt.
Harrell in some trouble. He'll try the jumper. It's short.
And that's not his game, and that's what Rick Pitino was talking about. You know, get the ball to somebody, repost down low where he can really get stuff done.
Now Central 4 will pull it out. Under 3 minutes to go. This is Matt Williams. Goodwin, the freshman, running the point. Shot clock down to 4. Sykes all the way to the bucket, banks it, no, and a rebound taken off by Rozier. Rozier alley-oop, and a thunderous dunk from Harrell.
Harrell has a knack for getting behind the defenses, kind of getting lost, and the only ones who can find him are his teammates.
Harrell's got 7, second leading scorer for the Cardinals.
Bad turnover.
Here comes Rozier, blazing into the front court. Leaves for Smith, he attacks the glass and reverses it in. Russ Smith's got a dozen, and Louisville back up by 11. Minute and a half remaining here in the first. First of 3 AAC basketball games in a row on ESPN2. Next it'll be South Florida and Memphis.
Too hard. They're letting them play underneath. You like that.
Sykes shot goes in and out. Blair tries. He missed everything. Back out to Goodwin, who will hang on to it with 1:05 to go.
Good decision, time and score. You got to get a high percentage. And good job right there.
Right on cue. Eugene McCrory lays it in. 40-31. Final minute. Chris Jones will try. Line drive in and out. Good one on the run.
Try for 2 for 1.
Williams for 3. And a foul called on Louisville. Cardinals living in the paint so far tonight.
And that's what they need to live with the size they have and the strength of Montrezl Harrell.
Chris Cotter in studio. Coming up on the Land Rover halftime report, Seth Greenberg will join me. Ohio State and Syracuse stay unbeaten, 2 of the 7 unbeaten teams in the country. We've got highlights of their games earlier. And our freshman focus on Jabari Parker on an historic day for Coach K. Highlights of that game as well. Coming up at the half.
Back here in Orlando, Louisville got off to a tremendous start, led 23-4 at one point. Central Florida stabilized. They're down 9 here. Stephon Blair came off the bench, the sophomore from Fort Lauderdale. Len Elmore, and he put some things together. Had 6 points, a couple of rebounds. He got to the line a couple of times. Sometimes you get help from your bench when it's least expected.
Yeah, I mean, Blair came in, blocked a shot. You know, he's got good size, and he had to assert himself because, again, Louisville, with all the points in the paint, UCF needed someone to kind of neutralize, you know, their ability to get those high percentage shots in the half court particularly.
And Blair does not get the free throw to go. It's been a good first half free throw shooting overall for the Knights, though they missed that one. Russ Smith, Tim Henderson, Terry Rozier, one of the best prep point guards in the country, handles it. Louisville will look for the last shot. 2-second differential, game clock and shot clock. Now Rozier trying to get it going. He lost the ball. It's up to Smith now. He attacks inside, and no, it's waved off. He traveled with it. ESPN's journey to the tourney. Season-long spotlight on games that will impact the tournament, and we'll feature a couple of Big Ten heavyweights. Tuesday night, Ohio State takes on Michigan State. ESPN's journey to the tourney presented by Sonic. Tuesday at 9 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Final seconds. Here's Sykes. He's going to get to the rim, but he won't get a shot off. And that ends the first half. But a bounce-back effort by Central Florida, as Louisville led by as many as 19. The Cardinals sharing the ball well. 12 assists on their 16 made field goals.
And they've done a terrific job, particularly with their defense early, but UCF showing some heart right now as they came back and they're demonstrating exactly who they are after a rough start.
The Knights, their first ever American Athletic Conference game here with Louisville. Now let's go to Chris Cotter with the Land Rover halftime report.
Happy New Year, everybody out there. Chris Cotter, Seth Greenberg here with you. Land Rover halftime report. We start with Michigan State and Penn State. First half, Michigan State down 25-27. Denzel Valentine loses control. Brendan Dawson, though, picks it up and throws it down. We are tied at 27. Then Michigan State down 7. Alvin Ellis, the third, turning the ball over. And Tim Frazier with the steal and layup, coach. Penn State with a halftime lead.
Frazier and Newbill, they are a dynamic backcourt. They're 7 for 12 from the three-point line. Tom Izzo cannot be happy.
Yeah, dangerous time, you know, around the holidays. I know you've talked about it a lot. You get kids back.
And you're playing on the road, but Adrian Payne only gets 3 points in the first half, 2 fouls, gets 5 rebounds. He's got to play minutes, and he's got to be a factor offensively. But most importantly, Michigan State, they've got to guard someone.
Right.
You've got to defend the three. That's unlike a Tom Izzo team.
So what about a Rick Pitino team you talk about around the holidays, coming off a tough loss against Kentucky, where they didn't play poorly, but now Shane Bohannon no longer with the team. It's sort of in transition right now in a strange place for them.
Yeah, they are in a strange place. I thought early on in this game they came out with great energy. They pushed it in transition. They were active defensively. They were trapping the ball in the short corner, and they were sharing the basketball. Saw a big basket. As the game went along, though, they struggled here in transition. Great hit ahead. Montrezl Harrell getting behind the defense here in transition once again. You're talking about Luke Hancock, no-look pass, beating the defense down the floor, and Russ Smith being Russ-diculous. Once again, on the reversal. Watch Montrezl Harrell. Really, really active. Getting to the offensive glass, rebounding outside of his area, and making a play. But then, Isaiah Sykes, he got involved. He was aggressive. They went 2-3 zone, which slowed Louisville down a little bit, took them out of transition. Most importantly, Louisville, they're void of a legitimate low-post threat. So by playing that zone, they can kind of push out on that zone, get to the shooters. They've got to beat it down the floor and find a way to get some inside offense.
So Louisville loses a big man to suspension. Oklahoma State loses a big man to injury. Michael Cobbins out with a torn ACL. How bad is this for Oklahoma?
That's a huge loss for Oklahoma State. He's a terrific ball screen defender. He's a rim protector. He's in the back line when they extend their defense, and he finishes off penetration. The problem right now is that puts a lot of pressure on Kamani Friends. They only have legitimately one other low post defender.
Travis Ford announcing that Cobbins will have surgery on Thursday. All right, coming up, 7 unbeatens left in the country. A couple of the big-time teams in action earlier today. Ohio State, Syracuse. Highlights coming up.
You're watching the Land Rover Halftime Report.
Aaron Kraft in Ohio State taking on Purdue. Look at Kraft coming out of nowhere to block the three.
This is a ridiculous play. He contests a shot, pushes the ball in transition, probes the defense, and finishes. That is Aaron Kraft in one play.
All right, Purdue down 7 in the final minute. Tyrone Johnson can't get it to go, and Ohio State holds on for the win, 78-69. Any road win in conference is a good win, so Ohio State picks it up, and they remain unbeaten. Eastern Michigan at Syracuse. Coach Boeheim taking Eastern Michigan. He's gluttons for punishment. So
Duke last week, Syracuse this week. Who are they playing? Arizona next week?
CJ Fair is going to miss. Follows it up, though. Right place, right time. Syracuse up 13. And I know you love this backcourt. You've been talking about him. Here's one half, Trevor Cooney.
Trevor Cooney, nice ball fake, freezes the defense, knocks down the three. More importantly, Tyler Ennis doesn't score a basket in this game, but his ability to make others better and see the floor, the guy is special.
Syracuse houses Eastern Michigan, who collects a nice little payday again with the Buckeyes in orange winning. 7 unbeaten teams in Division I. Ohio State, the mayor, is doing it again. In Ames, they take the court later on tonight. 4 other unbeaten teams open up conference play on Thursday. Freshman focus continues. Jabari Parker and Duke.
This guy's pretty good, you know.
Yeah, there's a reason why we focus on him.
He's pretty good. Like, he scores every place on the floor, off the bounce, in a post-up, at the high post. Here he catches in a little post-up, turns opposite the defense. Not bad.
Quinn Cook is going to miss the three, but Jabari Parker.
Oh, just get an offensive rebound, catch, face, attack the defense, play through contact, score. Not bad.
12 and 10 on the day for Parker. Duke up 23-9 here. Andre Dawkins, he's been shooting from the outside.
11 of his last 17 threes he's knocked down. And how about this play? Parker in transition, crosses over, behind the back, extends. That looks like Grant Hill to me. I don't know about you.
Wow. All right.
That guy's pretty good. And how about running the floor? So now he's caught it on isolation, got to the offensive glass, initiated the play, and run the floor. I would say he's a freshman focus.
Career win number 968 for Coach K. ties Herb McGee for the most wins in men's NCAA history. For more on that story, and Michael Cobbins, by the way, from Oklahoma State, I said he had a torn ACL. It's a torn Achilles, still out for the year, but I wanted to make sure we get that right. You can read more about it on the SportsCenter app. All you got to do is dial **SC to download.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond. This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond.
Roy Williams in North Carolina taking on UNC Wilmington over on the U. I love that jacket. He's been wearing that jacket a little bit. I like that. James Michael McAdoo coming into his own a little bit.
James Michael McAdoo starting to impose his experience and his will on the game.
All right, so North Carolina up 5 at that point, then up 12. Bryce Johnson going to get the putback layup here.
Deep, talented front court for North Carolina. Inexperienced back there.
Getting that game over on the U. Carolina with the lead. Earlier today, Yogi Ferrell in Indiana taking on Illinois. Big Ten showdown. Final possession at the end of regulation. Tied. Evan Gordon had a good look. Did a good fake. Good look.
Nice look, but Illinois did a nice job of keeping the ball out of Yogi Ferrell's hands.
All right, Tracy Abrams, he had a great game. Crosses over Yogi Ferrell and lays it in.
Tracy Abrams and Ravante Rice are a difficult matchup because they're both attacking each and every time they catch the ball.
Right, Indiana down 3. Noah Vonleh can't get the putback to go after Ferrell tried to get a quick 2.
Big Ten Conference is for real.
Illinois with the win there in impressive fashion. Sun Bowl earlier today. We got 4 bowl games today. Logan Thomas and Virginia Tech taking on UCLA. Look at Logan Thomas here. Completes the pass, but he got leveled. Take another look. Good heavens. He would have to leave the game. So Virginia Tech now with their backup quarterback, Mark Leal. And he is in trouble here, and guess who's going to pick this ball off and go the other way? Miles Jack, of course.
It's been a rough bowl season for the ACC.
It really has, with the exception of North Carolina. And, of course, you've got Florida State and Clemson still to come. All right, here's Boston College, another one of those ACC teams falling to Arizona earlier today. And then in progress right now over on ESPN, it's Mississippi State with a 20-point lead over Rice. And playing more football later, including Johnny Manziel and Duke and Texas A&M. In the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Playing more basketball to come. Second half on the way. Rusticulous.
That was ridiculous.
9-point lead for Louisville. Second half coming.
You're watching the American Athletic Conference on ESPN. And a few hours away from 2014. Happy New Year from all of us here in Orlando at the University of Central Florida, where the Knights trail the number 14th ranked Louisville Cardinals 40-31. Mike Crispino, Len Elmore back, and Louisville was sharing the ball beautifully early.
Well, they certainly were. Again, that helped them key that 26-7 run, moving the ball, getting it in transition. But all of a sudden, the light came on for UCF. They started to play with that toughness and maturity to turn that deficit around and to close that gap. And when you take a look at the numbers right here, two leaders, two you guys you would expect to be in front of their team and to lead, their charge. And Russ Smith was terrific, as was Isaiah Sykes, who might have tweaked his ankle a little bit. But the biggest key, I think, Mike, to UCF's comeback was in the first 5 minutes of this game, they turned the ball over 5 times, 24-3 lead for Louisville. But in the last 15 minutes, only 1 turnover. And I think that is the key. It gave them some confidence, gave them more possessions, and they were able to, again, show exactly who they are against the defending national champ.
Well, basketball, a game of runs, a 23-4 start by Louisville, a 19-5 answer by UCF. Got back within 28-23. You're talking about Russ Smith. It's not always how many you make, it's when you make them. He made those 2 big threes when UCF really was threatening to get back and tie the game. It got Louisville back on track.
And we talk about the psychological games. That's also when Isaiah Sykes went out to kind of retape that ankle. And, recognizing again the jaws might have dropped a little bit for UCF. Russ Smith turned it on.
Now, what do you make of the three-point shooting for UCF, a team that averages 8.5 a game? They made 1 in the first half on 7 attempts.
Well, remember, Louisville defends the 3 very well, 32% for opponents. Actually, Central Florida defends the 3 even better with 29%. But they recognize they're going to have to do it any way that they can. If they're going to be a balanced team, if the 3 is taken away, they got to take what the defense gives them.
Louisville started 3 of 5 from three-point range and had their 2 of just their last 8 as they wrapped up the first half. So here's Isaiah Sykes back after tweaking the ankle, drives inside, missed the shot. And let's see, Louisville couldn't control it as Wayne Blackshear lost it.
The matchup, Mathiang on Sykes. Mathiang's length was a tremendous advantage for him on that, and forcing Sykes a little bit further away with that left-handed shot. Didn't hit the backboard the way he wanted it to.
UCF comes in with a 5-game winning streak. They're 8-3 on the season. Their very first game in the American Athletic Conference, the first ever in the conference. We'll get 3 in a row for you on ESPN2. We'll be off to Memphis, USF next, and later, UConn is in Houston.
I'll tell you what, the other thing that UCF is doing is trying to come back in this ball game without the help of Tristan Spurlock. The 6'8" redshirt senior really hasn't contributed much at all. 0 for 3 from the field, including 0 for 2 from beyond the arc, just 1 rebound.
And Casey Wilson as well, Len. He's been shut out. He hasn't scored a point yet.
Yeah, he hasn't had a chance to catch and shoot.
Well, the long rebound tipped back out to the Cardinals, and they'll start again. Russ Smith, long-range 3. He's got it. Catch and shoot from Russ Smith. He's got 3 of them here, and his 15 points leads the way.
And you saw the frustration on Isaiah Sykes' face. He did everything he could to defend. He's got about a 5-6 inch advantage over Russ Smith with that extended arm, and Smith's still able to bury it.
Well, the quick release by Russ Smith, his last 3 3-point field goals have been well done.
Nice job by Smith to jump to the left side, force Sykes to the help. But that's what Wilson does best, catch and shoot. And he's got to focus on getting that opportunity, although I don't know why Louisville would foul the shooter.
3 free throws coming for Casey Wilson.
You got a 12-point lead. Why would you foul the jump shooter?
That's the 3rd on Blackshear as well, so that might be an issue for Rick Pitino.
Casey Wilson averaging almost 15.7 rebounds over the last 4 games. Shooting terrific from beyond the arc.
66% from the line for Wilson. And we told you when the game began that junior forward Shane Bohannon has been dismissed from the Cardinals basketball team, violation of university policy. Rick Pitino's quote, "We're really, really disappointed. He'll no longer be part of our basketball team. We love the young man. We want nothing but the best for him." But he had a couple opportunities, and the university decided to dismiss him. He was a guy that was named to the NCAA Final Four All-Tournament team, Len, that double-double against Michigan. You could say maybe he was their best player in that championship game.
Oh, there's no question about it. He was an extraordinarily valuable young man and just getting better. But as Rick said, his loss sets their team back immensely. And earlier in the season, 26-day suspension. And obviously, he went back and violated school policy once again. And at some point, you have to say enough is enough.
And Smith has done it again. He drills a three. He's got 18. He's single-handedly firing up the Cardinals right now.
And UCF has to say that, too, about Russ Smith. Enough is enough.
His confidence level when he lets go of the ball is amazing.
Well, he's always been like that, you know, and it's only the last 2 years where he's matured and improved his skill to the point where the results back up that confidence.
And Tristan Spurlock continues to struggle, yet to make a field goal.
Take a look right here. The kick, and it's by our stopwatch, it's less than a second to bury that thing, to catch and release.
And Mathiang threw it through Chris Jones's legs. Unforced error that time. 5 turnovers by Louisville.
You know, that you can see that came from a guy who hasn't been playing basketball all that long to make that kind of pass. You know, with good passes come good shots. Coach wants to take him out and teach him. Coach him up, Rick.
Hey, one final thing on the Bohannon situation from Rick Pitino. He told us before the game, we spent so much time and effort with him off the court. Besides inside the lines.
Nice move.
Nice move there by Wilson, but it won't go. That's how disappointing it is for Louisville. Hancock goes inside, and let's see what happened there. An offensive foul on Louisville.
Looks like Van Treese tried to utilize the screen by extending his arm a little bit and got caught. Oh no, he's underneath right there. It wasn't a screen. He was trying to get rebound position and set a screen at the same time.
Here's Sykes. Scoops it up and won't drop it. It's tipped in by Spurlock. He's got his first bucket.
Rick Pitino has a case. That ball was sitting on the rim. That doesn't matter if it's not called.
Well, 3 minutes gone by here in the second half. Central Florida's been playing from behind all night long. Van Treese nowhere to go. Smith again in the corner, and one more time he's hit it. Got 5 of them now. 21 points for Russ Smith.
And after last year, I didn't think I would use, you know, Rick Pitino's name for Smith, but you know, he's getting ridiculous now. He really is. This young man, you talk about confidence, you talk about picking his spots.
Now, a lot of these guys leave after a year or two from college. He stuck around, and you got to believe that Rick Pitino is one of the happiest men in America.
Well, and you know what? So is Russ Smith. When you look at his game, he's rounded out. He's become a better player, picks his spots. His shot selection is nowhere near as crazy as it used to be, which would, you know, kind of harken that moniker Rusticulous. And also, he's averaging 5 assists a game, so he's making his teammates better.
Well, nice drive that time by Calvin Newell, the senior from Philadelphia. 12-point game here. Russ Smith shooting 44% from the field this year.
You know, his scoring, people may think his scoring is down a little bit, but I'm sorry. He's made this team better. He's carrying this team many times.
Going to try it again. Not this time. It's off the front rim. He's human. I guess the one area for Russ Smith that's got to improve is his assist-to-turnover ratio. Sykes drives inside, but can't get it to go. And a miss by Spurlock from point-blank range.
Too quick. Spurlock just seems to be out of kilter, off rhythm right now. As that layup, he had it. It was easy, but he rushed it.
So Russ Smith is on target from outside. Louisville leads.
Well, Russ Smith, Louisville's leader, you give him the rock, he makes something happen.
Two programs make their BCS debut New Year's Day. Tositas Fiesta Bowl features number 15 Central Florida, the Knights, against number 6 Baylor. New Year's night, 8:30 on ESPN. And UCF had to get by Louisville in October to start their season up. As undefeated Louisville's Teddy Bridgewater, the first to put points on the board, but UCF went on to have their biggest comeback in school history. They won it 38-35. Blake Bortles, their quarterback, helped get it going, and both he and Bridgewater are considered high first-round draft picks in the upcoming NFL draft. The attendance over 7,000 tonight here at the CFE Arena on the campus of Central Florida. And Len, we took a look around these facilities. They're fabulous. Donnie Jones has the program going, and now they're debuting in the American Athletic Conference, which is going to be a whole new ball game for them going forward.
Well, this looks like almost a replica of Wide World of Sports on the Disney complex. You're an athlete, this is Disneyland right here.
Yeah, Van Treese with a nice move inside. He powers it in for 2.
Facilities are outstanding, and you know, it's one of those ideas, I guess Central Florida said, UCF said if they build it, they will come.
Van Treese with a block, and here's Rozier into the paint, misses the shot, rebounded by Spurlock, and a foul call on Harrell. That gets us to another timeout. Cardinals 51, Central Florida 37 back after this. Happy New Year. 2014 right around the corner. We wrap up the year on ESPN2 with 3 straight American Athletic Conference games, the first 3 in the conference history. Here, number 14, Louisville leads 51-37. Mike Crispino along with Len Elmore in Orlando at CFE Arena on the campus of Central Florida. Beautiful place built 5 years ago. Unique floor pattern as well as the gold and black. Plays their first ever conference game against Louisville.
I'll tell you what, if UCF is going to get back into this ball game right now down 14, they've got to get, 3 of their top 4 scorers involved. Sykes is the only one really playing to his season average and to his potential.
And Casey Wilson showed the frustration there. He's got 2 points in the ball game. He averages 11.5.
Well, you take a look at Calvin Newell. He's another guy that averages double figures, as well as Tristan Spurlock. And they're not getting it done.
Get it to Smith in the corner, but he can't get a shot off. Kicks it cross court. And the jumper is good from Terry Rozier, the freshman out of Youngstown, Ohio.
Boy, the penetration skills of the Louisville guards are so good. They force everyone to come and help. And then the shooters spot up behind the arc, and they'll get found, and they knock them down.
Louisville's lead back to 17. Their biggest was 19. That was in the opening 11 minutes. Lead was cut to 5. Here's Wilson double team. Deals to Sykes right to the rim. Shot was blocked on the way up, I think, as it spun away from the rim. Here come the Cardinals. In the corner, Hancock lines it up and hits. He's wearing number 32. Number 11 was ripped off him earlier. And Louisville up 20.
Maybe that's why Hancock was so wide open. They didn't know it was him.
The scouting report said number 11, and then number 32 got open.
Unbelievable. It's excellent ball movement and unselfishness once again by Louisville. Russ Smith looking up the floor, not looking down. Finds an all by himself, Luke Hancock. And Hancock's shooting the ball much better. Rick Pitino told us that they had faith that he's going to come around shooting way under his normal percentage.
Now, Hancock's got 8. He's been shooting it whenever he gets it. Here's UCF's huddle. Donnie Jones talking to Wilson. And there's the big 3, if you will. Sykes, Spurlock, Newell. They average all around 14, 15 points a ball game. But Spurlock and Newell have struggled tonight.
And again, you can add Casey Wilson to that mix. He averages 11 points a game. He's only got 2. So really, UCF staying relatively competitive, only down 10, with 3 of their top 4 scorers having subpar ball game.
Balloon to 20 as Joe DeRosa calls a foul on the Louisville defender. That's the 6th Louisville foul in the second half. Next one puts them in the bonus. UCF, none. Could be one way to get back in this thing.
Yeah, but still have to continue to attack, and you got to make shots. When you're down 20, it's not enough just to get to the free throw line. You got to make some stops.
Steal by Smith. Hancock won't shoot it. Now he'll drive it. Oh man, he got rocked. He ran into Stephon Blair, who weighs in at 250. And Hancock got drilled backwards.
Look at that wide body. Going full speed, running into a brick wall. Nice ball fake there, and that's what happens when your head's down. You don't see the truck coming.
Now here's how the jersey got ripped. It's just a hustle play, and wait a second. Time for a new jersey. It's a tearaway jersey they're using. And Hancock, you might not recognize him because of the number, but Len, he's clean shaven.
That's
what
I
happened?
said. He cleaned up, cut his hair, cut that beard that he had. I think he's trying to change his luck. We keep talking about his shooting percentages are way below what you would expect from him. And, the best part about it, though, is he's got the support. Coaching staff, Rick Pitino particularly, believes in him, tells him to keep shooting because he knows he's going to come around.
Now here's a question. If he gets hot, wearing 32, does he change his number?
Yeah, good question.
So you're giving that some thought, aren't you? You were a scorer. You were a shooter. You might do that.
Yeah, not necessarily a scorer. I was the kind of guy that would go get the ball. See? Right on cue, Hancock.
And
feeling it.
25-point advantage. He's got 13. Boy, Louisville over 50% from three-point range. And they have quieted the crowd, which is here to see UCF in their American Athletic Conference debut. Louisville's won 22 straight over unranked teams, including 11 this year.
He only gets so many chances to come back. You see Sykes going to that left-handed shot once again and missing badly. Defenders have adjusted. You only get a couple of chances to come back from deficits like this. And here we see Sykes on the drive. Nice job by McCrory underneath on the offensive rebound. And UCF has unfortunately not been able to get over the hump. It's unfortunate turnovers or a spurt by Russ Smith by himself. Something has gotten in the way, and now obviously Louisville truly asserting himself.
And the three-point shooting. They're a good three-point shooting team, 40%. They have been unable to score from outside the arc tonight.
Well, that's a tribute to the Louisville defense. They scramble you, they expose you, and they don't allow you to catch and shoot. They'll close on you, make you put it on the floor.
Well, Hancock won alley-oop, but two Louisville Cardinals try to dunk it. And here's Sykes. Good defense that time.
Well, actually, there should have been some kind of call. The guy goes up in there and makes contact with the defender, and then it has impact on his shot, and the shot gets blocked.
And another alley-oop. This one, Van Treese converts from Rozier. Louisville by 24. That's 6 for Van Treese. Louisville gets you playing that style, and that's exactly what they want.
And that's how that's how you hurt somebody's three-point shooting percentage. Get you helter-skelter.
And here come the Knights, but the defense of Louisville too good. 64-40. They lead it big here in the second half. Number 14, Louisville in command, 64-40, 11:18 to go. Here in Orlando, we reflect back on our one-on-one. Top of the broadcast, an update, the strengths of these two teams.
Well, when you take a look at the three-point field goals, obviously UCF having a horrific time making them and even getting them. And the turnover margin maybe only +2. But when you look at conversion rate, Louisville has forced 9 turnovers, and they've converted them into 17 points. UCF has forced 7 turnovers and converted only 8 points. So it's really the conversion rate right now instead of the quantity.
Hancock for 3 again. And that is the 12th three-pointer of the night for Louisville. They got 16 from Hancock. They average 8 makes out of 22 attempts. They're 12 of 22 right now.
And they came in here, obviously, UCF with that reputation for knocking threes down. I think Louisville kind of took that to heart and said, okay, this is how you do it.
Season high 3-point field goal makes by Louisville as Goodwin hits a triple. And it's interesting. You talked about at the top of the broadcast how good UCF is defending the three. Not tonight.
Well, tonight, again, they've been forced to scramble. They've been taken out of their rhythm. Nice job inside out by Louisville. When I say inside out, not necessarily straight post feed, but playing above the rim, which forces the defenders to back up a little bit, try to clog that middle, and it opens up opportunities for threes.
Okoye Ugao will go to the line to shoot 2. He's a freshman, 6'8", 230 from Omaha. Another one of those young big men that Louisville will depend on going forward. I think they're in pretty good shape when Russ Smith leaves. Terry Rozier still here, Chris Jones. Thursday, get ready for 2 big-time conference rivalry games. First at 7, Big Ten. Wisconsin undefeated, battles Northwestern and Chicago. Then at 9, St. Mary's and Gonzaga. Thursday at 7 and 9 on ESPN2. Both games live on Watch ESPN.
Well, you got to take your hat off to Bo Ryan and what he's been able to do with Wisconsin. You know, people used to quibble about the style and the way they play on offense. Defensively, though, you can't have any argument with what they're able to do. Undefeated, 4 in the country, and they're going to test new coach Chris Collins' team.
Hancock again. This one rims in and out. Boarded, though, by Mathiang, and that won't go. Anybody that quibbles with Wisconsin, just take a look at the record.
Well, I know.
The NCAA, what, 12 times in a row? It's not easy.
People argue, though, that, you know, maybe the pace of the offense is too slow and you can't get guys to go there. Well, he's getting some pretty good players to go there because they understand it's all about learning the game and about winning. And in those 2 areas, not a whole lot of coaches better than Bo Ryan.
No question. Walker tries for 3, banks it hard off the glass. Daquan Walker, a sophomore from Philadelphia in the ball game. Here's Rozier, quick blow-by move, and his floater goes in. Terry Rozier now has 5 points. He's only a freshman. So Louisville comes in here off that loss to Kentucky. They're 0-2 against top 25 teams. You take any stock in that? They've beaten everybody else, but the top 25s they haven't been able to handle.
Well, I think that's a barometer for Rick Pitino to measure. You know, why did they lose to those teams? Against Kentucky, they weren't tough enough on the glass, didn't defend well. You know, it was a close game against a Carolina team that needed, you know, that type of win. And Carolina played extraordinarily well.
Yeah, nice closeout by the Louisville defense. Their guards on the perimeter are really good, and Rick Pitino talked about that. Sykes gets inside on a nice feed. But this is teammate Walker.
But Mike, this is going to be a different team come conference play, as well as when you get to February, early March. You know, they've got to adjust with the loss of Bohannon, which apparently they have, at least in this particular game.
Now, Terry Rozier joins the 3-ball party.
And guys like Rozier, Mathiang, they're going to grow. And, you know, Harrell is one of those guys that if he understands, you know, what side of the bread he needs to butter in order to be the best player he can be, Louisville is going to be formidable. No question about it. It's
one of the highest scoring teams in the country, 84.5 points a ball game, but so is Central Florida. Here's another look at the American Athletic Conference today and tomorrow. They'll lose Louisville, Rutgers next year at East Carolina, Tulane, Tulsa. And, of course, the history with UConn and Cincinnati and Memphis. They're going to have some good quality big dogs in this conference for a while.
Yeah, I mean, people look at this conference and they're thinking beyond when Louisville leaves, what's it going to be? But there's going to be some good basketball, and the exposure that they're getting like teams like UCF, where people can see they play competitive basketball. They've got terrific facilities. You know, you're going to start getting the blue chippers to take a stronger look, a closer look at teams in the American.
Well, before Donnie Jones came here from Marshall, which was his home area, West Virginia guy, he talked with Billy Donovan, who came to Florida, which was a football school years ago, turned Florida into a powerhouse basketball school. And what Billy said was, it's the same sleeping giant, I think, that Florida was as a basketball school, and that helped Donnie Jones make that decision to come here.
Well, again, I've said it earlier, visibility is the foundation of strong programs. The more you're seen, and with the success that you ultimately have, the better your program becomes, because you can recruit better, you draw more from fundraising, and you know, you're able to turn a program into a superpower. All the facilities are here. You know, all the makings of a strong program are here. We've seen it in football, basketball. It's just a matter of time.
Louisville's had a great year themselves on all levels in all sports. Right now, big night for them. They lead 72-48.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Mazda. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. What do you drive? And Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2014 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
Chris Cotter, Coach Greenberg in studio. Michigan State at Penn State. Indy Lions led at the half, but Brandon Dawson with the block, and it goes the other way, Coach.
Unselfish pass right here. Extra pass.
And they have taken control of that game. Coming up next here on the Deuce, Shaq Goodwin in Memphis on the road at South Florida. So we go from Central Florida to South Florida. Back to Mike and Lynn.
All right, thank you, Chris. This Central Florida team, Len, came in shooting 48% as a team. They'd averaged 93 points their last 3 games. They're shooting 34% tonight, and they've only got 48 points with 7.5 left.
And as I said, you credit it to that Louisville defense, swarming, forcing you out of your rhythm. You know, UCF's a good passing team, but, you know, they haven't been able to make the extra pass and, you know, get open shooters. They average 15 assists per game. Right now in this game, we've only got 7. A lot of that has to do with the strength of the Louisville defense forcing you to go one-on-one.
And the other storyline here, Louisville, which was top 20 in three-point makes, 8.5 a game. They've made 13 tonight. This is their season high. 13 three-point field goals, which have fueled their big lead.
And I tell you what, you talk about cohesiveness on the offensive end. 27 field goals, 23 assists for Louisville. So they pretty much made the extra pass, found open shooters, executed their offense to perfection.
And here they come with a 3-on-1 break. Russ Smith deals it down low to Blackshear, and he'll get 2 free throws. So Louisville with a 72-48 lead. We'll see Memphis coming up on ESPN2. Then UConn later under Kevin Ollie. They've done a good job last year, I think, and they couldn't go to the tournament. The 20 victories, that was significant. And they've carried over that momentum as they'll go to Houston tonight to take on Houston.
Yeah, you talk about utilizing momentum and also utilizing it as a bulletin board fodder. The fact that, you know, they were not allowed to go to any postseason, and rightfully so. The academic elements that were involved with stuff that you just can't argue with. You got to be able to have your folks on track to graduate. But now, you know, they're 1,000 in the APR, and they've bragged about that. So they've shored up any issues that they had academically.
Walker misses on the putback, though. It's Casey Wilson who's had an off night. Here's Russ Smith speeding down the lane. Down he goes. He'll get 2 free throws. Talk about lightning quickness.
And going back to UConn, you know, they've got a terrific backcourt in Napier and Boatwright. And, you know, their front line, they've got guys who are nightmares as far as matchups are concerned. So you kind of like the competition among at least those top 3 teams. You can throw Cincinnati in there. You know, SMU and Houston are 2 teams that people have spoken about that have the capability of competing.
Well, Mick Cronin really has put Cincinnati back on track since he took over there. Cincinnati guy, dad was a coach, does an excellent job. And Larry Brown, you can't argue with his credentials at SMU. You got the Mustangs playing pretty good basketball.
Yeah, well, I played for Larry Brown in the pros, and, you know, I have no doubt that those guys are learning fundamentals, learning how to play the game the right way.
Won a national championship, of course, with Kansas back in '88. Goes to UCLA. Newell got rocked on the drive inside. That's the 9th team foul on Louisville.
So when you look at this conference with UConn, Louisville, Memphis, and the teams that we mentioned, Cincinnati and some of those sleepers, and even Temple, I saw them earlier this year. They seem to have fallen on hard times, you know, with a 5-5 record, but they've got the capability of beating some folks if they can pull it all together.
I saw Tulsa a couple nights ago at Maryland, your old stomping grounds, and they're a young team for Danny Manning, all sophomores. Tremendous athletes, though. They're going to be a good club. They'll be all juniors next year when they come into this league. They could be a factor. 6:20 left to play. Louisville's been in control throughout, jumped to a 23-4 lead. UCF got it down to 5 at 28-23, but Louisville finished the second half off with a flourish. Harrell can't get it done down low and try to save it with a volleyball punch. And the Knights will have it. Next for Louisville, they have a trip to Rutgers. Eddie Jordan taking that program over. Here's Walker for 3. And Walker knocks it down. Daquan Walker, 37% three-point shooter, and it's a 20-point game. And a timeout's been called. I think it's by Rick Pitino. So a 30-second timeout call. ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, a season-long spotlight on games that will impact the tournament. 2 Big Ten heavyweights colliding Tuesday night. Ohio State, Michigan State. ESPN's Journey to the Tourney presented by Sonic. Next Tuesday at 9 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Another player that was instrumental in that drive to the NCAA tournament, Kevin Ware, has been struggling this year. He had that horrific broken leg last year in the tournament. Regional final, re-injured it again December 17th against Missouri State. You were there. He looks like a guy that's having his difficulties coming back from a very tough injury, so they may have to redshirt him. They got a couple more games to decide. It might be the best thing to do.
Yeah, in that Missouri State game, he did get kicked right on the spot of the break, and he tried to come back and play a little bit, but you could see he was hobbled. He was certainly in pain. It's got to be still tender, as the healing process takes a long, long time for full healing.
Turnover by Louisville. Walker backs it out, leaves for Newell.
Walker saw Harrell lining him up and decided the right way, back it out.
Newell's had a tough night. Elvin Newell averages 15 a game, the senior from Philadelphia. Newell's gone 2 of 6. And a whistle on the drive, a foul on UCF. That's the team's 6th foul, so the next one will put him in the bonus.
Well, that's the odd part about this crazy game right now.
Nothing odd about Russ Smith tonight. He has been on target. It's been radar for him. He's got 24 points. And he came in needing 45 for 1,500 in his career, which would put him 21st on the Louisville all-time list.
Another offensive rebound, another rebound for UCF. They lead in rebounding 34-30 and 16 offensive rebounds to Louisville's 8, but Louisville's shooting so well they're on a whole lot of offensive rebounds to get.
Spurlock steals. It's 4-on-2 if they hurry, and Smith takes it a back away from him. It's 3-on-1. Russ Smith deals it to Harrell, and he hammers it down right-handed.
And that was a great example. You look at the lead and you say, okay, fine, Russ Smith gave it up. But in this days and time, he had a dunk all lined up and decided to give it up to his teammate. There are a lot of guys in a lot of programs that would never have given it to their teammate. They would have tried to go and become a Sports Center highlight.
Another steal by Louisville. It's their 9th. Here's Russ. Deals in the corner.
And that's why these guys will survive the loss of Bohannon to the best of their ability. The chemistry is so good on this team. You know, the wagons get circled and they'll find a way to get the guys they need to step up in the manner they need to.
Plus, you can't discount that experience of actually winning a national championship. They had 75% of their offense back from that team.
Right. They know what it takes.
Here's Newell, and he's fouled by Hancock. Double bonus time. Well, Russ Smith has put on a show tonight for Louisville. Not only drilling threes, but adding the assist numbers. 25 on 29 field goals made. Cardinals in command.
Chris Cotter in studio. New Year's Eve, great night for sports here on ESPN Networks. First, Victor Rudd in South Florida, getting set to take on Memphis. They'll tip it up here on the Deuce in about 11 minutes' time, as soon as we come to a conclusion of our game in Orlando. And then over on ESPN, Johnny Manziel, just like a rock star, arriving at the Georgia Dome Chick-fil-A Bowl. Duke and Texas
A&M. That's the way you roll in every single day.
Back to Mike and Len, who rolled into the arena there in Orlando like that earlier today, guys.
Thank you, Chris. Len Elmore, yes, he is surrounded by an entourage everywhere he goes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what state it is. He's well known around the world.
Take a look at this desk and these notes. They're just there to clean up behind me. That's all.
Well, Louisville's been cleaning up most of the night. Great start. Donnie Jones came in. He was talking today about Central Florida would not be overwhelmed by the moment. They have pulled some upsets. 2010, they defeated Florida, top 20. They beat UConn the year after they won the national championship. They took out Memphis. They beat Miami at Miami last year. We know what kind of year the Canes had. So they've been able to stand up to some big challenges, but not tonight. Louisville's been a better team.
Yeah, it wasn't the moment with the Cardinals that they couldn't withstand.
So a 21-point lead for Louisville. Capping off 2013 with been a phenomenal year for the university in sports. I mean, even their baseball team, Len, you're a baseball guy. They got to the College World Series. They knocked off Vanderbilt to do it. So they've done just about everything in every sport.
It's not often that Eastern teams or even Ohio Valley teams get to go. Usually the warm weather teams.
All right, Montrez Harrell, a sophomore, with a nice little jump hook there. Yeah, their women's team got to the Final Four in basketball as well. Under 3 minutes to go. Louisville right about at their point average. 81. Walker lost it up on the way up, and he's fouled. He'll get 2 free throws. UCF was coming off a big win over Valparaiso, 90-62 here a few days ago. They played as well as they played all year. Now, you're the coach. You got to come back and review this one and say, well, we didn't play well tonight, but.
Well, there's some positive things. I think the first thing I have to understand is that conference play is beginning, and the level of competition is going to be far greater, far better, far more intense than Valparaiso, Rio Grande, Jacksonville, Howard, the teams that they have beaten. And, even though you can work on your game, you can build confidence, you just got to get better when you're playing teams like Louisville.
Oh, what a follow that time by Harrell. He was rising well above the rim. Last year, UCF 20-11, 9-7 in Conference USA.
If they were floating after winning 5 in a row, they're back down to earth with a thud right here against Louisville, and that's okay. Again, it's a wake-up call, and we've seen that UCF has talent, that for a period of time they can compete, and they certainly did against Louisville in spurts here, particularly in the comeback. As you said, they went from a 23-4 deficit to coming within 5 before Russ Smith and company stretched that lead.
Meanwhile, Louisville finishing this game off with a high-flying circus. They've had 2 spectacular alley-oop dunks at the end of fast breaks. And that's what you've got to do to beat Louisville. You got to keep them off the fast break. You cannot allow them to get out and run.
Yeah.
Coming up, Memphis Tigers, 2013 Old Spice champs. They open conference play against USF next. Then Shabazz Napier leads UConn against Houston. Basketball in the American finally starting. You talk about backcourts. Kevin Ollie's got a good backcourt at UConn with Napier and Boatwright, 2 veteran guys, and Memphis has got the great backcourt as well.
This is a guard-oriented conference, no question about it. And I would say this: pressure, transition basketball, athleticism, they got it all in this conference.
Long 3 off the side of the rim. Boarded down low, and the putback no good. And a battle for it. It'll be a held ball, and it'll be Louisville's possession, I believe. So Rick Pitino, member of the Hall of Fame, NCAA champion 2 times over. His son now coaching at Minnesota. He's got proteges everywhere. He might have more proteges than anybody coaching in the college ranks.
Yeah, his tree has an awful lot of branches right now. Rick's been around for a long time. This is 29th season as a head coach, and that's not to mention the several seasons he went to the NBA. And it's hard to believe. Rick Pitino and I first met when I was my last year with the New York Knicks, and he was a first-year assistant. And that was many moons ago.
I remember Rick Pitino coaching Boston University. You go back that far?
Yeah.
He and Jim Calhoun it'd be war. Northeastern against BU.
That's some serious local basketball there.
Intercity stuff. And a foul was called. I don't know if you can tell about guys. Now, his son will face him next year. Minnesota plays Louisville to start the season. Can you tell about a young coach whether he's going to have a great career? Is there a way to know that?
I obviously you don't know until, you know, they bridge the gap where they ultimately start winning on a consistent basis, win some tournament championships. I mean, you can see the kind of people they bring into their program and how their program is going to shape up. But I got a feeling, obviously, as successful as Rick Pitino has been, that Richard will understand and know the path to greatness.
The free throw miss. And, of course, you got Chris Collins now at Northwestern. His dad, Doug, such a fine coach on the pro level. Protege of Mike Krzyzewski. And he'll face Wisconsin on the 2nd of January. What a way to open up the new year. You got the undefeated Badgers coming into Northwestern.
Well, you know, Chris Collins, I mean, he knew what he was in for. A team that has never been to the NCAA tournament, a team that is represents a school of high academic standards, just like Duke. I mean, there are a lot of parallels there, and the question is, you know, can you make winners out of them?
And the Big Ten Network is always a grind. The Big Ten Conference, rather, they get the Big Ten Network covering everything they do, and there's a lot of focus on basketball in the Big Ten. A lot of good programs, a lot of great coaches. We talked about Bo Ryan. Here in Louisville, final minute, 88-65 as Central Florida will drop to 8-4. Louisville go to 12-2. Their walk-ons in the ball game. Levitch, where's number 23? They want him to get a shot if he can.
There it is.
He's open. He fires it. A little too long. Rebounded by Rozier. David Levitch, a freshman from Goshen, Kentucky, in the ball game.
A significant Louisville contingent behind their bench here, just waiting for Levitch to knock one down.
Louisville just won a bowl game in Orlando a couple days ago, and they're going to come into Orlando with their basketball team and win it 90-65. For Len Elmore, I'm Mike Crispino. Coming up, we've got 2 more American basketball games. Our next stop, Tampa. Memphis takes on USF. Russ Smith and the Cardinals rolling tonight. Russ with 24 points and 6 threes as Louisville wins it big, 90-65. Good night from Orlando.